Third pickup though from Polaris. They've already had 2 cores, so expecting to see a lot more supports. And here we go, the Grimstroke is out, and I mean that makes enough sense. Like you've got the Mars Grimstroke combination now, got a nice Inkswell Zip combo there with the Storm Grimstroke. You love seeing the Grimstroke come out these days, just very, very potent. What do they follow up with? I mean, you imagine it's going to be another support here for Polaris Esports, and they might just save that safe lane till later on. Just a matter of what they want in that support role, and no, never mind. They are going to go right into the TA pickup, and that should be the safe lane TA for Polaris.
Yeah, that should be the Natsumi hero coming out, so you have your strong win condition already. Execration does have some good ways of clearing through Refraction. Torrent's already one. It rips through the max level as well, just because the damage instances pile up and it rips through. Pangolier, not quite the answer. We've seen Pangolier Swashbuckle fail at that, but you already have enough anyway from the Kunkka. And Execration do go into the Darkseer, so I think they're shifting gears here. They're going to run Pangolier 4, Shadow Demon 5, Darkseer offlane, unless... No, that sounds about right. I think that's probably the best way to run it. Darkseer lane can be really aggressive. That gives you a really good lane up against TA. Her Refraction's not going to feel good, because again, you're going to burn through it with the Ion Shell, and TA doesn't have the best range at level 1. Level 2 kind of feel bad. Level 3 is when it feels safe. So you have a big window here for the Darkseer to keep running. With a Pangolier, that could be support. Ion Shell and Pangolier swashing forward with Shield Crash. It's a lot of damage, and it's not really a hero you can trade up against here.
No, certainly not. Final banouts to come though. Polaris, they'll focus on the enemy pos ones now, as they still are yet to pick up a carry for Execration. I mean, I like the Darkseer pickup in terms of the laning matchup against the TA. Makes sense, you just burn through the refraction charges and you could just take over the lane, but at the same time, Darkseer's one of those heroes where it's either in meta or it isn't. You know, it's not one of those heroes that really hangs around in that middle ground, and they'll ban at the PL now for Polaris Esports. Execration still looking for some support bans to get rid of the Ench. It makes enough sense because you can purge off the old Surge with the enchant. Any other supports that you could, you know, kind of point out here against the, say, the Darkseer lane, John? Because I believe the Grimstroke should be going with the Mars, so we're looking for maybe a POS 5 here for Polaris Esports.
Not many left on the 5 that really do anything about Darkseer. Take out the Oracle as well with Root and the Dispels. I'd say just build up on what's strong for you on Polaris. Like, even if your lanes might come out a bit weaker, a line would make really good sense with a Grimstroke. Double Hex, Double Finger, Double Earth Spike is really strong, as we've seen in the last series. That could be one way to go. And that is, you know, something that we've seen Xavius play a little bit more in comparison to Grimstroke 4. So I think that fits his playstyle. You can still shift a Grimstroke with a TA. The lane doesn't repair itself, but you can at least cut them off from being aggressive with Inkswell. So you can use that defensively to cut off incoming gank and just buy the TA some space. I think a Lion would fit in pretty darn well. Going back to your point about Darkseer, Mike, with the upcoming patch, are we expecting any decimal point changes on Darkseer, do you reckon, on the vacuum?
I mean, I appreciate that. I mean, Valve knows what they're doing. They're having a bit of fun with the memes, and we always love that from Valve, even if it is something as silly as a decimal point, Jonathan. What I'm still more focused about is how we're gonna nerf CM's movement speed another time, John. I mean, it's still too damn high, Jonathan. Still too... I mean, if she's moving, we've got a problem. She needs to be just a standalone, just stand there like a statue hero, and if they come near you, then you can do something. But apart from that, I don't want to see that Crystal Maiden moving.
What if they changed gears, you know? What if they, instead of nerfing her move speed, they actually give her 300 base movement? That would break the game, wouldn't it? That would be too strong. Way too strong.
Calm down, Jonathan. You'll get us fired with those kind of ideas. You be careful, sir.
I miss playing CM, man. I miss it. It's my comfort hero support. CM and Warlock, and they're all just kind of bad. Like, Witch Doctor also doesn't feel great. I'm just a sad support player, Mike. Yes, my heroes aren't there. You're happy. Your Bane is good. I'm not.
Well, Bane's always been good. Alright, they'll go for the Ogre route. That's fair enough. I mean, you talked about the Lion. The Ogre's somewhat similar. You still have a nice stun. Bane's always been good, Jonathan. Just nobody knew about it. As Batrider comes out now for Execration, which is a great way of dealing with the TA. Bat does not enjoy that, and it's a Bob Batrider, Jonathan. We know how great Bob is on this hero.
Yeah, that's when he really starts to wreck face, and we are getting out the Marb Kunkka on the safe lane. I believe IAP has run that a couple of times, so it's something he's comfy with. Bob and the Batrider up against Lelouch's Storm should be a pretty good matchup. It just doesn't feel like the Storm is going to be able to hold out. Again, I want to see Polaris to be able to secure those power runes to give themselves a good time for Lelouch, as the aggression coming out from Bob is going to be pretty hard for the Storm to match. And he also has a lot faster jungle farm, so he's going to win out in the longer game if Lelouch does want to play it that way. I do favor Execration's draft overall. I think they've got great answers for the TA. They've got great lanes coming out. Their lane matchups are pretty good, especially on mid. But Polaris, on paper, are the better team. I think if it comes down to just who will execute better, Polaris will. On draft, though, I'd lean Execration, Mike.
All right, well, we'll go with this. We'll go with that, John. I think I agree with you as well. I think they've got great ways of dealing with the TA. My issue is you've still got a Storm to think about. You know, the Mars could pop off at any moment. Obviously, Force going to be very annoyed now that he did not get that Pangolier. We'll see how it goes, though. Game number 1 of our final series of the night between Polaris Esports and Execration set to get underway. And before we do talk about anything else, for the viewers in-game watching right now and that can finally hear me, my apologies for not using open mic. Shout out to Nick, though, on Twitter, who has pointed that out. It's been a terrible day of production over at BTS, John, and I don't know who the production guy is, but I'd be having some stern words with him.
Yeah, I believe Ricky, our friend, our cryptic, called it, it's Jerry, apparently is his name, so...
Jerry?
Poor Jerry's not having a good time. Yeah, I believe that's what Ricky does say when production goes down. Jerry, the production guy, is just sleeping on the job.
Damn it, Jerry. Force, going to move up to that high ground very aggressively, but you've got to worry about those iron shells. In fact, Disruption is going to be there into the zone setup, and Force, already losing half his HP pool, is going to try and make a way out, and is actually going to make it. But he'll probably be forced to go back to the fountain while he still can. There's a very aggressive movement from Force, and while it doesn't cost them anything, it
30 seconds.
is going to mean he's going to have to waste some time.
He already ate 1 tango as well, so down to 2. Could buy a fresh set with the bounty runes coming up. A good start for Execration, just showing off how strong they are early on. And that's the combinations you have to watch out for. Disruption to Tide into the Torrent. That does force Marv for level 1 Torrent, which doesn't feel particularly great for a Kunkka. So that is something to watch out for, but I think you're still overall happy with this, as they are kind of standing around here for Polaris.
They're going to try, but Natsumi's in the meld. Still, Vincenzo does get the banner in away, so it is still a 2 for 2. As Vincenzo now, the one that's taking way too much damage, but is able to get back towards that mid-tier 1 and does survive. And while we are around, Jonathan, Mavis and Natsumi going to be against who I believe is Samael, and of course Escod on the Darks here. Arguably, it should be an annoying and difficult lane here for Polaris, but do you think there's any particular way they should try to deal with this laning stage, John?
It's a toughie, because you've got level 1 meld, your range isn't great, you're going to be chipped away by the Iron Shell in the first few levels, and you can already see Samael just going forward, playing with the shield crash, applying pressure. Mavis can only do so much. I think that's where your presence comes out here. He has to put his body forward, get some good ignites, trade some HP away to make Execration a bit uncomfy, but they can always go for the creep pull. And Mavis can try to contest, he's out of mana now, does have mangoes, but might be, burning out a bit too much because of the double Iron Shell early on, so have to measure yourself. I think for Polaris, you just accept that this is going to be a slow lane, get as much farm as you can on Natsumi, good pull from him to take the creeps away from the tower, and recalibrate here by the tier 2. So I think this is the best you can hope for. This is balancing out for Natsumi, but you gotta accept that S-God will find what he wants.
Yeah. And of course, over in the mid lane, Bob going to be against Lelouch. Should be a very Batrider favored lane. I don't even need to ask you with this one, Jonathan. Bob should have a pretty big advantage, I'd argue, against the Storm. And usually it's around that level 2, level 3 timing, you'll see Bob try to make the move over to claim that first kill. Lelouch sticking back, understanding this, is not going to allow the opening for Bob, and is probably going to force him to dive the tier 1 tower if he does want that kill. Anything to watch out for in this lane, though, John?
Really, just rune control. It's the one other aspect. Like, both sides will want the water runes, the power runes in their control. And as mentioned, it feels a lot more important for Lelouch on the Storm, because this here is very sensitive to its early item pickups, and it does need the runes to maintain its laning presence. So good start already. No early rotations to block out his own water rune, which is good news. Looks like we do have Discord problems out for Execration. So the good old boom excuse of Discord is out there, Mike. Apparently
Jesus.
Execration's got it too.
How many times can we have Discord issues? How many? I mean, I can't believe it. It's too often these days. Maybe they should just change the server permanently. Like, what server are these teams using? Are they all using the same server? Is that what's happening? Because you and I had a problem with one of the servers as well. And we changed it to another server. And we've been pretty good ever since then.
Yeah. I think the issue is sometimes that line in the Philippines, the servers are on Discord, Singapore and Hong Kong. And sometimes one kind of fails, so you have to switch it to the other. It looks like they have sorted it, so it's server swaps there, Mike. They're all good to go. But back to that point for mid, rune control is where this lane really makes or breaks. Lelouch is pretty happy though, has the full wand up. He does have some burst healing and sustain on hand. And he's still managing the lane well. Bob's not really forcing too much pressure here, despite having level 3. He hasn't gone for the Firefly. And Lelouch is still up there in the CS.
He might go for the flame break depending on how badly this lane continues here for Bob. I mean, very surprising. I really expected a bit more aggression, but so far, very passive. Again, giving props to Lelouch, he is the one that recognizes that aggression is going to come in eventually and has not allowed that opportunity. And of course, the final lane as well. Top lane, you've got Marv there on that Kunkka. He'll be supported by a Shadow Demon by Vincenzo. And of course, you've got Force on that Mars. And he'll be supported by Xavius on the Grimstroke. No aggression thus far at this top lane. Seems to be a kind of an even trading lane for now, as neither side really wants to get too aggressive. In fact, hold that thought, because bot lane was a bit of fighting as you have hit that level 2 mark of the Darkseer, but not level 3 yet, where the Iron Shell really starts to hurt, as Mavis is still able to just kind of tank through all the damage that they are throwing at them. And it's another lane that's kind of surprisingly going well. Like, you wouldn't expect Natsumi to be having this good of a game during this laning phase, but it is going well so far as Lelouch is being chased down now, but Mavis, he makes it right in the nick of time, and Bob's gonna drop. Oh, I love those quick reactions here from Polaris. Lelouch popping the Vortex to buy a bit of time for Mavis to finish off the TP and get the Fire Blast. And Bob only needed one more right-click jump. He was mid-animation, but he just couldn't get it off in time.
Yeah, heads up play out from Polaris, and we talked about that. Mid is the make or break for Polaris to get that momentum. They don't have the full bottle up on Lelouch. It does come out now, and he's got the water rune to refill, so he's going to be set in this lane. Unfortunate thing for Execration, they saw that happening. They saw the Ogre Magi TP in front of them. They had no way of stopping it. So they managed to get a good move out. That does buy some space out for the side lanes of Execration, but not much. They're immediately back in lane. And it just goes back to that. Execration, they do have that stronger draft, but they're not able to find that early momentum. Like, the top lane has been pretty slow for Marv. He hasn't been able to trade up against Force. They've got the disruption set up, but it's not really coming out. Force with the early Ring of Health is very hard to burst down. And I think you've kind of ridden through the hardest part of this lane, although they will go now up top.
I mean, they're stacking up those Shadow Poisons, but a big ink swell out. Xavier's just landing it perfectly as Vincenzo is still trying, but Force is going to be just fine. Only 3 stacks of the poison has been applied. Down a bot in the meantime, Mavis somehow also still alive, as Samael's the one being chased down right now by Natsumi. One more hit would have done it. Escort, have you gone too far? He has. Oh, save a buddy syndrome kicking in there from Escort, and you would have rather lost the support Pango over the offlane Darkseer, but it goes the opposite way around.
Tried to body block, instead giving his life over to Natsumi, and this lane we were expecting to be slower for the TA, it's been rectified. Natsumi has the level 3 refraction that still burns to the Iron Shell, but you've got a little bit more range with side blades. You have way more damage with refraction up at that point as well. You do manage to find that kill on Xavier's top, and they might be able to clear out Force here.
They do. Vincenzo really setting up both those kills. He had an amazing body block with the illusions in that tree line, and of course with the Shadow Poison stacks hitting 6, Force had no chance of survival. Vincenzo now going to try and interrupt Lelouch and might actually find him in a very vulnerable position. Let's go for the disruption. Needs a couple Shadow Poison stacks to really hope for the kill, and just is not going to have the time against the Storm. He will at least force Lelouch to go back for the reset, but Luckily for the Storm, he does clear out the stacks in the triangle before he does have to go for that reset.
Yeah. Early smoke out from Bob, though. He's got the illusion rune, not the best, but it at least gives you a dispel. They've got the lasso ready. They just need a good target. Natsumi would be the big one, but they might have to settle for Mavis if he cuts them off here.
Lelouch is here, however. I mean, Bob, he's still probably the stronger mid right now, but Lelouch is one level ahead as they're going to try and go in onto Natsumi with the lasso out. They've gone through the refraction charges, but now Bob's in trouble. A big vacuum out Natsumi. He does go down as Lelouch does have to back off, and Mavis, he'll have to do the same, but it won't be as easy as it was for the Storm. As the rotation from Bob does pay off, and XctN will hand over the tip.
They have that nice, easy combination there. Just surge in, lasso up, really easy to burn through the TA. Natsumi getting caught off guard there. Unfortunate for Polaris that they didn't spot that out with night vision up with her Ogre Magi. He was taking a forward position, but just not enough vision to really get the info out. And they get punished. Good kill to come out for Execration, wasting even Lelouch's time. And that's going to slow down the Storm just a little bit more. The good news for Polaris is that their top lane's been going well here.
Vincenzo gonna get caught. Nice little pick up there from Xavius and Forces. Well, Xavius kind of took the kill, John. Force maybe not a little bit happy about that, but it'll be okay. Still securing that kill as you are going to be able to go back into that top lane and farm up just nicely here for Force. Keep in mind though, Marb's had a very good time with this top lane. Top of the net worth board in this Kunkka, no real pressure being applied whatsoever, and it almost has the armlet up, so we could see some very early timings here from Marb, and that should allow him to get aggressive with his team if he so wishes.
Yeah, you can just show up, throw the boat out, their team fight's really good. Never talked about that potential, but Vac, Wall, Boat, Torrent, it's insane. It's pretty scary to fight into that, and I think that's something Polaris has to be a bit cautious about. They do have Arena down the line from Force. It is highly effective, but not quite the same wide hold as Vacuum and Boat would give them, and not quite the same durability as well. And Execration still playing around bot. They've still been really aggressive in trying to find an angle onto Natsumi. The traps are up to provide some good forward vision, so they're going to be playing it safe. RTA is not too far behind the Kunkka. 500 gold is pretty big at this point, but the TA does farm fast in the jungle. All Polaris needs to do is buy that space out. They've given Mavis the bot lane. They've kind of just taken Natsumi into the jungle. And as long as this TA isn't stopped in the jungle, you should be fine. But they've got good wards here from Execration to watch this farm.
But they do. Oh, Natsumi now going to be spotted out in that jungle, but he will back off in the nick of time. Samael and XctN not able to close the distance. So they could always head back down bot and maybe pick off Mavis here on this Ogre. Might be a bit of a tanky boy, but with those level 3 iron shells, you could certainly get the damage out, as now they are going to spot him out. XctN going to drop the wall just to slow him down a little bit. Mavis, though, still going for a run, and in fact, they don't have the stuns available right now. Not without the level 6 on the Pango. So Mavis does actually just walk out of it.
I'm surprised they didn't go for maybe a surge play. Go back, surge up. Samael tried to run him down, but the Ogre is fairly tanky, and that's a pretty big ult to give out. So you're not going to expect any big plays out from XctN anytime soon, and that does allow Polaris to just clear up top. They've dragged Lucian for this push. They're going to be able to find a nice safe objective. No rotations out from Execration. More than happy to just keep farming up. They might lose Davis, but he does get the haste rune in time, so just going to dodge off, and it's going to be a straightforward tower take for Polaris. No defense at all.
Bob going for that smoke up though. With both his supports, they have the lasso, they've got the setup. Marb will be around to boot. Definitely a very nice scan, but Force is not backed off in time. You might be able to get Lelouch out of there scot-free, but I can't say the same for the Mars, as they are going to be able to take down Force just fine. Guess you still got the tier 1 tower, but I think Execration should be pretty happy with that. It's a decent kill on the Mars.
It's a nice pick-off. Not the biggest kill, but still something to help you get some momentum here on Execration. They don't manage to find a tier 1 tower trade, and I think that's the hurting point. Like, sure, you find a kill, you lose a tower, you're losing some control on the map. And the mid pressure that comes through now means that Execration's going to have to put a lot in that defense, because once you lose that mid tier 1 with your top gone, the jungle opens up. You are at a good point here with Marb. You mentioned it a while ago, Mike, but he is still top of net worth. Armlet up and running, so he's hard to burst down with the boat available. And he's going to be able to join his team much more often. He's going for the fast travels here as well, so he wants to be able to keep pace with Bob with his own travels, work the map, farm separately, hook up for a team fight. And that's not something Polaris is quite ready for. They've got mobility on the Storm, but the mana cost is still pretty high. The Kaya for Lelouch is going to be out at a decent time, though. So some of that damage, some of that lesser cost on the spells is going to be big for Lelouch to maintain some aggression here. They are working that jungle quite nicely, but they're not going to find anyone. And a good ward out from Samuel will cut off any aggression. So slower pace, still good for Polaris, but Execration are starting to get some of this early engagements working their way.
And they are. Now, 4 to 5, 12 minutes in. Slight net worth lead here for Polaris Esports. It's hard to know who this really favors, just the farming game that's being played out right now. I want to say it favors Polaris Esports just based off the draft, but it can still go the other way. So we have seen Kunkka being able to really carry through the late game now. Just one of those heroes that just is able to have these really high impact spells. Lelouch, he might find Samael on this Pango, but it's a matter of whether he wants to take the bait, because Bob is there ready to go with the lasso. Lelouch, no, he's going in. He is going in, but it's the wrong moment as Bob is just going to move into the lasso. Then no! Bob does not get the lasso off. I believe he was slowed up there for a second, and they are going to find Xavius. But they miss out on the big kill. In the meantime, Force, he will take down Escort with Mavis.
That's pretty darn big for Polaris. They get a lot of space going. They force a lot of heroes up top. Try to kill off the Storm, but the cast range just not in time there from Bob to get in with a lasso, and they are punished for it. Taking out Escod's pretty nice as well. Bob might find an extra in Mavis, though.
He's going to try to TP play up, but there's no chance. Nice try, Mavis. Does not work out as Marb will pick up his third kill of the game now on the Kunkka. I still feel like Polaris Esports are coming out on top, and this could be a great smoke for them. Ancient stacks being taken. They may not make it in time for those, but they could somehow find a way to pick off Marb. It feels very good for Polaris Esports, but it seems like they are going to head down bot instead, hoping somebody comes down to farm. Using this creep wave as bait now, but oh, actually somebody is coming. Oh, it's Marb. Oh, it's going to be very bad timing for Marb. This is not the moment as the Inkswell is going to be there. Polaris, the patience does end up paying off. On the other side of the map, Force, oh, they're going to try and make the jump in, but Force is fine. Blinking his way out, and they are not going to dive the towers. Really nice place here from across the map on Polaris Esports.
Just had a really good read on what Execration wanted to do. They managed to get a good smoke break. None of the movements have been lining up towards Natsumi as well. So your TA is still firing them up really well. I believe that might be the Desolator up and running. Could be the BKB rush first, as they don't see the courier quite coming out. So I think Natsumi might just be going for the safe play, getting some spell immunity for some early fights. They are rotating down bot, but the Storm is really slippery. You don't have a blink up on Bob. Even an Aether Lens might help the cause, but none of that's available, and Lelouch is still willing to play here.
That he is. Top lane as well, Samael gonna run into Mavis and does go for the Rolling Thunder, but he's not gonna be able to get the animation off in time. Still go as Mavis has been X'd up into the boat. You've actually got Natsumi around who's thinking about moving in here, but no. He just wants the large cap. Standard carry play, he'll let his pos 5 die. I suppose for Marb and Samael, it's something. Still an ogre at the end of the day, worth 1.6k net worth, but it's something.
Yeah, it's a kill. It's some gold going the way of your pos 4. Samuel's going to be pretty happy with a pickup. It's an additional earn charge. You're not too bad off there for Execration. The issue is I think Polaris is still using the map space a lot better. They're not clumped up as hard. They're finding some good farm on Natsumi. Lelouch is managing to keep up. Even Forrest, who's been maybe a bit more sacrificial, has been able to get some work done. And they're going to go for a smoke play as Tree. Lelouch again taking point with Akaya. Does a lot of damage on hand. With the Inkswell, they've got all the control they need. If they find Marb once more, that could be a big one.
Thinking he's safe in this triangle, but he is certainly not right now as Lelouch. Gonna have his smoke broken. Inkswell, no, he's gone the wrong way. He's gonna go for another target instead. Who have they got? It was Bob from the Batrider. Disruption though does buy time, but Bob is still gonna drop as now they move in onto Vincenzo. And in fact, I thought they went the wrong way, John, but I think it's a matter of we could take down Bob and Vincenzo and just go right into that mid-tier 1 tower. Marb, he may have taken too long to take down. Just more value in going after Bob instead.
Yeah, they just get the good kill, they get the tower they need. We talked about that pressure onto the jungle. Very wide open now for Polaris to invade up top, cut off the farm, cut off the resources of Execration. They have been doing pretty good in getting Esgod some good catch-up for him. He's still lagging behind Force and Lelouch in quite a big way. Even Bob hurting at this point. So that catch-up gold is necessary, and they are getting some good space out in bot. Xavius is a pretty juicy target here.
Yeah, I mean, Bob's going to go for a nice easy one. Lasso will be there, and that should be enough. Force, however, does take down Vincenzo towards the north in the mid lane, so it's going to be a 1-for-1 on those supports. Keep in mind, you did have to commit that lasso there from Bob to secure that kill, so could be a little bit detrimental here for Execration. I suppose any kill right now is a good kill, though, for the Dire End, as they are just falling a little bit behind. The only person having a good time is still Marb. But we haven't really seen the crazy impact we were expecting from a POS 1 Kunkka yet. Maybe once he has the BKB up, we'll start to see it. But that has allowed plenty of time now for Natsumi to get very close to being online himself, and they are going to move right into that Roshan pit. Even without the Deso, they know they can take this Roshan out. You know there's no lasso up right now, so you don't have to worry about that either. And that'll be a free, easy Roshan to go the way of Polaris Esports.
2 lives up. Question is whether they give it to Natsumi or Lelouch. It should be Lelouch. I think he's going to be taking point in a lot of these fights early on. Natsumi going to be hanging in the back line. And yeah, Lelouch does take it. 2 lives on the Storm. Kaya Sanj up and running. Lincoln's next to break off that lasso. Or even just the X. You're going to get a lot of value from that. And it's going to be hard to control Lelouch at this point. Side of Execration are working their way onto a bit of an item spike here, Mike. Esgod is inching towards that Ags now. So you will have the double Ion Shell, you will have some HP coming out from that as well, some sustain to play with both. It's going to be big. We need to see the teamfights breaking out though. That's where Execration shines. They've got Vac Wall, they've got the boat on top of that, they've got the Torrent. We just haven't seen them get the good clump up they want, and these scattered fights are favoring Polaris.
I set up on Vincenzo. That'll be the save gone of Execration. And immediate pings out to the top tier 2. I mean, they're just not playing around. Keep in mind, Ags is now up on Esgod, so you do have 2 charges of Iron Shell. Is it going to change the game? That's a different question entirely. It is certainly going to allow you to split push more effectively, but in terms of the team fight right now, Polaris are kind of just uncontested.
They're just not being forced into any awkward position. The lassos have been really tough for Bob to land onto bigger targets in these bigger fights. He's been finding some good pickoffs, but it's just not enough. They are in position to defend though. The tower's falling fast.
They've been Lelouch. He wants to go right after Marb, but the spear out, they are trying to just lock him down before he gets the boat out. Marb though, he's still alive. He's got the BKB off in time, and now the walls drop. Lelouch though, he's running out of mana on this Storm. That could be problematic. Execration, they can finally turn these team fights around as they've got the Storm down, they've got Force down, but can they get him a second time? Bob looking for that big lasso, and he's going to get it. No problem. As it seems like Polaris Esports has gone too far this time around, and Execration are finally able to punish them for it.
They just overextend a fair bit. They don't respect the control coming out here from Execration. The Soul Biden did not cut off Samael, and I think that's the big aspect of that fight that went south for Polaris. Samael just had free reign to roll around, get the job done, break off the fight, and split them up. Natsumi just immediately bailed out after his BKB faded, which was the right call, but not the ideal situation for you. It's very hard for Natsumi to catch up when the fight breaks that far away from him because he doesn't have a blink. Now you're going to have to deal with a BKB on Bob, harder to pin down that Bat Rider. You've got to be able to get that good angle you need here on Polaris. As we've seen from Execration, their combination of teamfight is really strong. They just needed to find an avenue to get that out, and they're starting to get that going. The build-up from Marb is still up there, Mike. Still ahead of Natsumi's TA, which is not what you want to see when you're playing TA. You want to be able to farm fast. You want to be able to get that item advantage. Not quite there in this game. And Marb is working towards that Silver Edge next, so his damage output will skyrocket. They do see Bob solo up top, though.
Yeah, Bob. Not like this, Bob. Lelouch gonna zip right in. He's quite low on mana already, and Bob, no, he's just gonna BKB TP out. Sure, you waste a BKB charge, but that's not too big of a deal these days. No issues here for Execration. Well, we just be happy with Bob surviving, as it does seem like Polaris are eventually going to move back into that top tier 2 tower. The Deso up on Natsumi makes it a hell of a lot easier to just get rid of that tower. And well, now a fight may break out. Force has moved in with an arena, but Disruption has saved Vincenzo as Xavius is running around in circles, trying to avoid Samael, but is still going to drop this now. Lelouch, he comes in with the double Vortex out into the double Fire Blast, but Marb, he got the BKB in time. You might lose Escort, but you've also lose Force, and now you're going to lose an Ogre. Mavis is to drop to Bob, and Execration are really finding some success in these recent team fights, as they'll get 3 down for the price of 1. Even Natsumi's still melted up. They don't know though. He actually shows them to boot. He lets them know he was there.
Yeah, playing tag a bit. They do get a good reset out on Lelouch. He could come back in. Lincoln's not too far off, but needs some time to build into that. Execration, again, they're finding the angles, they're finding the openings here from Polaris. I think maybe some of that comes down to Force. They need better arenas, they need better targets to pin down with the spears as well. They've been trying to go for Vincenzo, but if he does get the save off, the follow-through feels very split up. It's just an issue of getting Natsumi's damage up front, and he's going to need to blink for that. Now, he is only 50 gold away from that. That could fix a lot of the issues Polaris has, because now your TA can just jump forward, do some damage when the arenas drop, when your storm zips in, and actually follow through and clean up on those squishier targets. Still a hard fight to take up against Execration, but they will clump up here. They've got the smoke, and they'll go reveal that blink in a big way.
Yeah, that they will. Into the triangle they go. Marv is going to be around. Lelouch slipping right in on top of that cliff. He has been spotted out, though. The arena is down Force. He's caught 2 targets, and Samael's already gone. The boat, though, to fly in does connect onto 2 heroes to boot, but they are not going to go for the fight. Losing 2 supports is just a bad start to the team fight here for Execration. They'll have to choose another day. Though I worry their days are getting somewhat limited. And Natsumi just getting bigger and bigger as time goes on. They're going to go for that mid-tier 2 tower now, it seems. Or maybe not. Maybe they don't commit quite yet. Don't know, it does seem like Natsumi will, just for a little bit at the least. Oh, yes, God. You have to avoid the stun. Lasso. Who have they actually caught there with that? It's going to be Force. On that Mars, Force. He'll BKB and run. He'll try to get out of here. His escort is going to drop on the Darkseer, and somehow Force is still alive. He finally goes down, but Lelouch, what are you doing, sir? That was not the right place to try and TP, but he is still going to zip his way out. At least for now. Problem is Bob is going to follow him down and is going to find the pickoff. Maybe a bit of the old misclick here from Lelouch. Samael. Moving in for more. Natsumi, though, still hitting very, very hard. He's going to turn back around for the Pango and does get him. In fact, look at this. Look at the side blades. Vincenzo to drop to boot. And now they're just going to turn back around onto Bob, hoping for a little bit more. What a back and forth game we have here, Jonathan. 17-16, 2K net worth advantage. Some very interesting plays and mistakes being made, but still a fun game overall.
Yeah, that's why it's the Rambulan, right? They're just constantly fighting. There's lots of openings. There's lots of ways to get your jabs in. And Execration have been fighting back well. Polaris maybe, again, overextending a couple of times, getting punished for it. The Execration aren't too far behind. They're still getting some great build-up on Marb. The AC is going to mitigate some of that damage coming through from Natsumi. And they still have that really strong combination of back wall along with the boat coming through. So you have to worry about the clump up. I think that's showing us why Natsumi is playing very, very safe. He's not always jumping in to follow through with the Illusion Force because he knows the risk is massive. He doesn't want to run out of BKB charges very early on. They should be able to clear out the tier 2, but with the AC up on side of Execration and with a Fortify out, they might be able to look for an angle for a fight here.
Oh, absolutely. Force. Oh, nice arena. He's got 2 targets and it's both supports again as Samael is just not going to be able to get that Rolling Thunder off. Disruption was there to save. Samael still trying, but eventually will go down as Marb is still going to try and fight, but I don't know how much he can really get done in a 3v5 situation. they are looking for somebody to grab with that lasso from Bob, but it's just not there. And Polaris, they're sticking around at least for a little bit, hoping somebody shows. They'll get the tier 2 mid tower. Execration, they'll just back off. They know they cannot contest Polaris Esports, at least for now.
Unfortunate news for Polaris, though. They can't immediately transition into Roshan. 2 minutes, 10 seconds until that respawn is up. So they're going to have to play it safe and just keep building up some farm. They could try to force the issue on bot, take a tier 1, take a tier 2 afterwards. Not too much HP left on that bot tier 1 at the least. I think for Execration, they've got a bit of a window here. They could group up, go for a smoke play, look for that vac wall, boat follow-up. They get a scan. They might be baited into the rush, but it does fade. See if they find the angle this time around.
Execration. And this smoke broken by Mavis. Firefly will be popped. They might just have to settle though for the Ogre. Or maybe Polaris might fight back. They are in position as Bob. He's gone right into Natsumi. Bob is just going to get blown up. And now the Soulbind holding both of them together as they just cannot roll away. They have lost Escort. They might just lose Samael to boot. And they are going to find nothing here for Execration. As there is only one target left, and that's going to be Mob, who will BKB TP out in front of that mid-tier 1 tower. Oh, Bob, going into the wrong target there, John. You don't want to blink into Natsumi right now, that's for sure.
No, he just hits way too hard, and they hesitated on that jump in. They got punished for it on Execration. They were trying to pierce the high ground. Yeah, the advantage there for Polaris. With those deaths, that could open up a bit of a push. Respawns are fairly quick, though. So I don't think Polaris is going to force the issue too hard. They'll go for that safe play on the bot tier 1. And they could wait out the next rush. 40 seconds away. Full Daedalus up on Natsumi though. Might want to play offensively here as they could easily burst someone down if someone missteps. And I think for Execration, they've got to lick their wounds here. Cooldown on that wall. They do have the lasso ready. Bob needs to find an angle. He does have the blink. He's going for the Aether Lens next. But Polaris are smoked up. They're looking to be aggressive here.
Oh, Bob. Not again, Bob. No blink up yet. Lelouch, he's going to enter Sphere as well. Bob's going to be forced to BKB up. But those damage out from the TA is just way too high. Natsumi taking his 6th kill of the game. And that was right on point, John. Roshan has now respawned. So perfect timing for Polaris Esports. Looks like Force going to have a look for a little bit more. Just taking the outpost back and go for Roshan, I think, here for Polaris. There's just nothing to really stop them.
Yeah, not a very slow process for Natsumi with the Daedalus and Desolator up. Going to be a very fast Roshan with the free shards coming through as well. And that could go to Natsumi. I think that's the big one. Having the silence on the traps tends to change the way the games break out. And Natsumi will get dibs on everything. So gets the Aegis, gets a free shard. Psionic Trap silence is going to be very painful for Execration. They do have good sentries to spot out a lot of those traps. They've got to be wary to force fights under them. Xavius.
Wants the BKB TP again. Xavius, and for the ballsy play into the Kunkka. He can do it though, he has the blink up. Speaking of ballsy plays though, Force. Oh, he's going to narrowly avoid the first stun, but does connect with the second, and now Samael just locking him down, so Bob, he can go for the lasso back into the normal punch. They've got the Mars down. In fact, they even found Mavis. Stuck around to try and help out his Mars, but is going to drop along with him. Nice couple of pickups here for Execration, and just something they desperately need right now.
They needed some cash flow injection. The kills will give them that. They get to hold on, apply some pressure, prevent them from being overrun on the high ground for now. Although Natsumi's still alive and they might just regroup.
Lelouch, still very confident moving in like that with very little mana, but it's going to be okay to go for a reset. The Execrations just biding their time. Keep dragging this game out. Eventually Mob may be able to compete with Natsumi's TA. Or at least Bob might be able to catch this TA. As Bob's been having a bit of a rough game, you can't lie. It's a 3-4-10. Not the kind of Batrider performance we quite expect from Bob. So we are used to much higher numbers here from our Bat, but we all have rough days, I suppose. Bob's no exclusion here. Is Lelouch gonna zip in? He's found a Shadow Demon. He even wanted that Bat Rider, but is not gonna be able to catch him out. They'll just have to settle for the Shadow Demon. But with that, it looks like they're ready to just go up towards the bot lane and maybe just deal with that tier 2 tower, or maybe just take over the triangle instead.
Yeah, they've got a lot of options here, and they still have the security of Aegis for about 3 minutes. Natsumi will go for the safe play. Needs a creep wave coming up. Gonna take a little bit of time, but not too much. Force and Lelouch are kind of playing onto the mid, so they're trying to apply pressure on 2 lanes here. Open up the high ground, zip up.
Lelouch, again, onto the support's gonna pick up Samael. 2 down now, but they both have buyback at the least. It's not, not the worst case scenario. The bot tier 2 tower, though, is going to go down eventually, and they still have 2.5 minutes on that Aegis. They've got the Swift Link up on Natsumi along with the Bloodlust. I suppose Natsumi, though, cannot move up on his own, especially when you're against that bot Bat Rider. He gets one good lasso, and you are pretty screwed.
Yeah, it's a lot easier now for Bob to get the lasso. He did finish up the Aether Lens, so he's got a lot more range to play with the lasso. Shouldn't be caught off guard now if he does get slowed up or something in one of these fights. And the high ground defense of Execration is actually really strong. And they've got Vac Wall, they've got the Torrent, they've got the boat coming out, they've got Wave Clear coming through from a lot of these heroes. Not the easiest time for Polaris to pierce that high ground, but they'll give it a shot. They're going to need another creep wave because of how fast they clear out on XN. They're going to play it safe. Aegis still has a minute 40 left. And they are getting some really good build-up for Natsumi. And the Orchid is one thing they're waiting for from Lelouch. That could be the next timing that they play around. Instead, having that silence to deal with one of these heroes is going to be very big. Although they do have the BKBs to save anyway. They've got a way of purging off that silence, but makes cleaning up the supports a lot faster. And maybe dealing with XctN as well, it's going to be much simpler.
Still looking for their way through the bot lane. Execration not budging, of course. They're just going to kind of stand their ground and wait for a mistake to come out here from Polaris Esports. Lincoln Sphere, though, on Natsumi might make it a little bit easier, but there's your lasso out. Now they can get through that first life, but no, never mind. They got to dispel Natsumi. He's onto Bob again. Now the Soul Bind to lock 2 of them down, so Natsumi he can get right to work, taking down Samael, and they are just cleaning them up. Marb needs to get out. Just runs immediately, as the buybacks are flying out from Execration, but Polaris are already gone. Or are they? Natsumi doing that meld trick again, John. Hoping somebody shows nearby. Still has the Aegis up for another 30 seconds. Gotta be careful not to miss time this on the TA. They do zip in. Lelouch, he's gonna force the fight into the backside onto Samael, but Disruption will save, at least for now, but not for long. That'll be a dieback. In the meantime, XctN is also gonna get taken out. Natsumi is finally going to lose the Aegis, but it's perfect timing for him. Only 5 seconds left. He wanted the reset anyway. Now Execration in a very challenging position. How do you defend these other racks now? Because all lanes are open.
Yep, it's tough. They don't have the back wall. XctN tried to make a play in the back line, not quite enough without any follow-through. They do have the boat from Marb. You can clear out some of the creep wave. It's just tough. They don't have enough control, and Lelouch isn't done.
Forcing the BKB out from Bob will mean mega creeps to come out as Lelouch has a good laugh to himself about that. Just nothing that Execration can do as Polaris are just playing out this draft way too well. Mega creeps are incoming. The Execration, they might just wait for their all 5 heroes to be up to go for that final team fight. At least the backdoor does kick in, but Polaris does not give a crap about that either. Marb for an X-Pack onto Natsumi. Just burning some refraction charges, but that's about all he can do. And now Mega Creeps are upon us, so Execration ensure that they might be able to defend, but can they really against 5 heroes on top? Lelouch, he's going to go on to Bob, and Bob's he just stands there. He just stood there, knowing he was dead. There's your Rolling Thunder out. They're going to try one last time with the vacuum wall to be committed into the normal punch onto Force. But they've already lost Vincenzo, and now Lelouch has been caught, or rather has been gone onto XctN. They do pick up the Darkseer kill. Marb, though, he's still trying onto Xavius, but it's probably not going to amount to anything. Lelouch is happy to keep going to work. And Marb, well, he gets taken out. That'll be a full team wipe. No buybacks left. That'll be GG. Polaris Esports. It was somewhat of a close game, but it always felt like they were in a dominant position, John, and they made it look kind of easy.
They just managed to get rolling there. The mid lane for Bob just didn't go off to the snowball we expected. He didn't really manage to slow down the storm that much, all down to how focused those supports were on getting some TP rotations in to enable Lelouch, and it all boiled down to that, really. It felt like you needed that Batrider to get off to a really fast start for Polaris. They needed the storm to make some space happen for Natsumi, and in the end, Polaris just got so much more from their mid. Their safe lane farmed up a lot faster. Natsumi did build up. Marb did a good job of keeping up. At some point, they were just within 100 gold at 15 minutes, so not a massive lead for Natsumi, but that's a TA versus Kunkka. Kunkka does get strong, but in a much slower way, in the sense that he doesn't have the insane burst that the TA had, especially since we didn't see Marb go for, say, the Silver Edge. So he lacked that big crit to play with the Tidebringer. They were very reliant on getting good vac wall into the boat, and even the lasso plays from Bob, and it was just really tough because Polaris weren't giving them the clump up, and they just managed to play it really well in Polaris' end.
Yeah, fair enough, John. That does lead us into our final game of the night, and of course it is going to be game 2 between Polaris Esports and Execration. So we're going to head off to a short 10-minute break. Of course, right after that break, we'll be back with that final game of the night.